Guys, I've got a little secret for you. You may not realize this, but you've clicked on a top 10 weakest video. I know, it's shocking, and what's worse, you're poisoned. I have the antidote though, and you'll have to stick through this video of the top 10 weakest poison types to find out what it is. Last time, we looked over the ground types, and now we break the mold and instead look at a typing that's weak to last week's. I guess that's what happens when you're at the end of a road with a series. So try to hold yourselves together as the toxic takes its toll, and let's get into the top 10 weakest poison type Pokemon. Starting things off today is the balloon Pokemon Qwilfish. It's kinda crazy that this is the balloon Pokemon and not, Drifloon. Oh, wait a second. They're both the balloon Pokemon. There's your weird fact for this video. Anyway, we open with Qwilfish, which unfortunately just isn't very good. I maintain that Qwilfish would probably be a better Pokemon if it evolved, but sadly, that just is not the case. Its stats highlight a base 95 attack, which isn't like the absolute worst at the very least. It's got mediocre speed and a less than ideal physical defense, with some garbage special stats and HP to boot. Its abilities have some redeeming factors though, with Poison Point being a nice way to deal a status ailment, Swift Swim offering a chance to improve that speed a bit, and of course Intimidate being the best of the group. If I was gonna pick any of these abilities, it would probably be Intimidate, honestly. So, Qwilfish's move pool has a couple of interesting moves in it. We'll start with Stab. There's Liquidation and Poison Jab, which are its best two moves. It also has access to Aqua Jet, which can come in handy if you need to finish a Pokemon off quickly. It has Swords Dance, which can allow it to probably set up, and Fell Stinger as well, which could potentially lead to a big attack increase. There's not too terribly much in the move pool, but what little there is that's actually good makes Qwilfish just a tick better than everything else. Its typing is also pretty solid, having 3 weaknesses but a great amount of resistance, which just gives it a decent enough shot to stand up to a bunch of bad Pokemon. If you even just wanted to set up Spikes, Poison, or Paralyze, and Taunt away, well, that is viable for Qwilfish as well. It's a safe pick for the number 10 spot on this list, and an interesting way to start things off today. Hey, now this one is just the start of a few interesting Pokemon on this list I didn't really expect to have made the top 10. We've got Victreebel, bringing its decent attack stats here to this poisonous discussion. It has 100 attack and 100 special attack with a couple of bad defenses and a lackluster speed stat. Now, that being the case, Victreebel still has the ability to hit very hard, and can even have its bad speed enhanced by its chlorophyll ability if the sun is out. Now, it's on the bettor to decide what sort of Victreebel they'd like to run in a wall breaker role, a physical or special one. You do have that option, You can set up with Swords Dance for the physical sort, and just run one of the many good special moves to make it even better. We'll look at the move pool real quick to give you guys an idea on the special end. Victreebel can run Leaf Storm for a powerful grass move, and then Sludge Bomb for the poison stab. Being that it is not available in Sword and Shield, it can use Hidden Power as well to offer any sort of coverage you really want. It's able to whip out Strength Sap too, so it can recover consistently while crippling some physical attackers. Now, on the physical end, moves like Power Whip, Sucker Punch, and Poison Jab are right there, so you can go at all those Pokemon with the lack of physical defenses out there. That said, Victreebel is still very slow, even with Chlorophyll set up. So I would not anticipate being able to do much of anything with Victreebel, regardless of how you set it up. Next up here on the list, we have got Skuntank, a poison dark type that fills a decent role in certain situations, but all around isn't a great Pokemon. See, I say it fills a decent role because if you're playing Monotype and decide to do an all poison team, it's actually pretty good to use due to its typing. It's the best thing about Skuntank as it's completely immune to Psychic type attacks, and that clearly works wonders on a poison type team. Its stats honestly could be better. There is the presence of some HP bulk, but nothing in the department of defenses, and its speed just isn't great. It does have some potential to hit hard though with that base 93 attack. However, for what good there can be in monotype battles representing the poison type, it isn't a great Pokemon outside of that niche role. Its best ability is Aftermath with the damage it can do upon being defeated. And I guess Stench isn't horrible if you're happy with rolling the dice on a possible flinch. The move pool Skuntank has features Poison Jab and Sucker Punch, two great stab moves, with the latter possibly being the best move it has offensively, seeing as it is super effective against psychic types and has plus priority. It also has access to Defog, which can be used to clear up hazards and the like, and that's pretty big. There is a little coverage in the pool too, like Play Rough, and if you for whatever reason want to run a special set, you can have Flamethrower too, though that really isn't much, and it plays in the Skuntank's appearance on the list. It's not great outside of its niche role, and is the true cutoff point, as the next few Pokemon following it are ones without a real reason to ever use. Alright, you guys saw the hilarious thumbnail, and now I'd like to talk about the Pokemon in it. As you can see, I tried my best to turn Seviper into something it's not, a balloon animal. Well, there's something else Seviper isn't, a good Pokemon. It's pretty awful actually, and it's almost tied with the 6th spot, but just edged it out. Its 2 attack stats are identical at 100, and that's really it. It can hit pretty hard, but it definitely can't take a hit, and its speed is not great at all. I mean, hey though, it's got Shed Skin, so it's not gonna have to deal with status ailments. In its move pool, it features a way to recover in Giga Drain, moves like Flamethrower, Earthquake, and Sludge Bomb, and perhaps most importantly, Sucker Punch. It doesn't get stabbed from that, but you know, at least there is priority. Those pesky psychic types think they have Seviper all figured out, but little do they know, it's got a response for him. However, at the end of the day, Seviper is taking no hits. It's not fast enough to really be much of a threat, and quite frankly, it's pretty outclassed by other poison types like the ones we talked about prior. It's the best snake Pokemon on this list, but that isn't saying much. It definitely surprised me during research to see that at number 6, I have to include Muck. It's unfortunate that Muck is here, considering all it needs to be better is the Dark typing, since Alolan Muck didn't even make this list. It's just that, despite being specially bulky and having a good attack stat, Muck has horrible speed and a massively bad move pool. Its only physical stab moves are Poison Jab and Gunk Shot, and access to the elemental punches is its only true semblance of coverage. Its abilities bring nothing new to the table with Stench, Sticky Hold, and Poison Touch. Though, you know, Curse is a thing that it can use, which can make it somewhat viable in the bottom tiers of Pokemon since it already has bad speed and needs the defense boost. It can get Shadow Sneak too, which allows it to mitigate the poor speed with priority, and access to Explosion if you just feel like blowing it up mid-battle because it's failing you on all other fronts. It's just a seemingly disappointing Pokemon outside of stuff like ZU and PU. And when that's the only opportunity you have to even be a little useful, that really means you're garbage. Sorry, Muck, but at least you're sitting outside the top 5 instead of in it. Do you guys feel the poison truly starting to overcome you? Perhaps getting lightheaded? A little short of breath? Well, don't worry, we're at the halfway point of the video now, so the antidote is on the horizon. We have to start off the top 5 though, and we begin with a Pokemon that features a Mega Evolution. How about that? Beedrill isn't in Sword and Shield, so its Mega is on the table here, and yet it couldn't save Beedrill from ending up here in the top 5. It is fast as hell and pretty strong, and that cannot be devalued. If we took the Mega out of the equation, Beedrill might have been in the number 1 spot. The stats on the regular version of this thing are downright sickening. Hell, beyond the speed and attack, it's the same deal for the Mega. If there is anything out there with priority, like Aqua Jet or Sucker Punch, Mega Beedrill is in danger of being one hit. While its Mega Evolution is definitely strong, being more frail than the average Pokemon essentially ruins its capabilities. Beedrill doesn't exactly have a varied move pool, with Brick Break and Drill Run feeling like the only 2 moves outside of its stab that really warrant any usage. Perhaps Knockoff or Pursuit? It's not much, and unfortunately there are a lot of Pokemon out there that can tank poison and bug moves. Perhaps, most importantly, Mega Beedrill is hurt big time by Stealth Rocks. It can be outsped by tons of Choice Scarf users, and honestly, this being strong isn't enough for Beedrill to escape the top 5 here. We often talk about Pokemon with wasted potential on these lists, and I guess Mega Beedrill is the object of that idea this time around. If it could just take hits a little better, perhaps it wouldn't have been in the top 5. Ah, what could have been. How often do you think about our number 4 entry, the Poison Bag Pokemon, Swalot? I'm going to assume it's not much, as I even forgot about it while making this list. It's a very forgettable Pokemon, as I see myself remembering Gulpin more often than I do Swalot. It's really not good, which probably adds on to that. It's a defensive Pokemon with 100 base HP and 83 in both defenses. However, its offensive stats and speed are, as you'd expect, awful. So it can take some hits, right? Well, guess what? There's no reliable recovery in its move pool. Its decent defenses will be chipped away at by hazards and just general attacks. Its abilities are lackluster, with Sticky Hold being the best in case you want to use like an Assault Vest or Leftovers or something. It's not like it'll matter. It's a major struggle to make Swalot actually do anything. It can use Earthquake, Ice Beam, Sludge Bomb, and a few other pretty decent coverage moves, but its attack stats are so bad, it ends up really doing nothing. This is such a bottom tier Pokemon that it is surprising to me that it's only number 4, but I suppose these last few are just absolutely horrendous. If you had even a slight thought that I was being overzealous at the end of that last entry, it truly gets worse, folks, even if it seems unlikely. Arbok's design is dope, but it is incredibly bad, and for a long time, that was sort of the poster for truly garbage poison types. I featured it in the worst team series before, for instance, as it's awful in game. However, it gets even worse in competitive. Its attack stat is base 95, being the best stat it's got, and everything else is under 80, sans the speed. That is not the makings for a good Pokemon, or one that even has a chance of being relevant. I always like to look out for something redeemable in these Pokemon, and this time it's Arbok's Intimidate ability. If nothing else, it can cripple physical attackers a little bit by switching on them. But why in the world would you keep a Pokemon on your team just to intimidate others? As we look into the move pool, we see another potential redeemable factor, access to Coil. It can be used to set up Arbok, but I personally think it'll take a couple coils to make it worth using. And at that point, I don't believe it'll be able to actually set up enough before absolutely getting ravaged by an opposing Pokemon. Its moves like Earthquake, Gunk Shot, and the Elemental Fangs all make little to no waves because it just isn't capable of setting up or taking hits. So yeah, Arbok is really bad, and nothing you do is really gonna make it any better. Don't bother setting it up, don't try to intimidate anything, leave Arbok to slither around on the ground and do some snakes. Today in the penultimate spot, we've got the more defensive evolution of the Wurmple family, Dustox. If nothing else, I will say Dustox is better than its partner Beautifly, because at the very least, its odds of surviving for more than one turn are better. It has a better typing too. Flying and Bug is quite a bit worse than Bug and Poison, which offers more resistances and less weaknesses. Its defenses are 90 special and 70 physical with 65 base speed. None of that is super great, and its attacks are absolutely garbage. However, it does have access to Defog, which it can use to eliminate hazards and the like, so I do suppose there is that. It can also use Quiver Dance, which is in its way almost useful since it has a decent special defense stat which could allow it to set up once. It can use Sludge Bomb, Energy Ball, and Bug Buzz, so a certain level of stab moves and a little bit of coverage is definitely present. Don't forget about Compound Eyes too. If you're desperate to use Electro Whip for some reason, you basically won't need to worry about missing it. Dustox is just plain trash, and was very close to being in the number 1 spot. However, as you're about to see, one fellow bug just edged it out. Ugh. You know, I think I'm starting to feel that poison too. Thank goodness we're almost done. So, we wrap up this video today with the worst poison type, and it is of course Ariados. This sting gives off the illusion of being some sort of perfect lead with access to Sticky Web and Toxic Spikes and all that. But boy, could that not be further from the case. Take a look at these stats, and notice Ariados lacks the one thing a good lead needs to set up hazards: decent speed. Its speed is by far its worst stat, and that's not good. It's really a mediocre attacker as well, relying on its ability Swarm to kick in so it can hit hard with Mega Horn, which is honestly the only good attacking move it has. I guess it has Poison Jab and Sucker Punch, but they are really not the kind of moves that are gonna do all that much for Ariados in a battle. The only thing that it's truly any good for is that hazard setup roll, and it's just so bad at that, and so outclassed by other Pokemon at the bottom of the barrel, it's honestly quite embarrassing. Ariados can sit down and join Pokemon like Delibird, Magcargo, and Wormadam on the Mount Rushmore of horrible Pokemon. It's where it belongs after we just revealed to the world how bad it is today. Gotta imagine we will see it again soon enough. Well, that's gonna do it. This poison is really taking its toll on me. I guess you guys aren't feeling all that great too. Oh god. I'll go ahead and give you guys the antidote and god. Oh, I gotta lay down, take that antidote, and I'll see you next time. Catch you guys later. I'm on R&R. Hey, welcome to my new outro. A big thank you to everyone for watching the video. I want to give a huge thanks to my phenomenal team, and for the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If y'all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too. It really helps us out. I have a brand new TikTok for Mystic Umbreon, and I've got a goal to get 10k followers over there. If we can hit that goal, I'm going to pick a random video suggested to me by you guys and do it. So go over there and leave a follow. Also, over on MysticSage, we've still got 2 videos going up every weekend. We've got content from My Hero, to Demon Slayer, to Dragon Ball, so come and check it out. And also check out MysticSage on TikTok. Finally, I've got an Amazon store where I sell tons of cool stuff. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I'll see you next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.